Are you thinking about moving to Delaware and you got your eyes on the small little town of Smyrna, Delaware? Well, isn't that a coincidence? Because in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons of living in Smyrna, Delaware, and some of them may not be as obvious as you think. But what I can promise you is after watching the video, you'll know whether or not Smyrna is the right town for you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Windom, and I help people buy and sell homes here in Delaware. I've lived here my entire life, and on this channel, I talk about what it's like living here in Delaware. And if you're thinking about potentially buying or selling here in Delaware, I'd love to have a conversation to see if it made sense for us to work together. So I'll put my info on screen now and again in the description below. So first, let me give you a little bit of a background here on Smyrna, and then we'll hop right into the pros and cons. So Smyrna, Delaware is actually located in between Newcastle County and Kent County, but primarily being the most of it in Kent County. It has a population of about 13,000 people, and it's our 9th largest city. And when it comes to median home price, Smyrna has a median home price of about $361,000. And for Smyrna's overall feel, it's a very small town rural feel. So now that we got that out the way, let's hop right into the pros. So the first pro is going to be the schools. So if you have children now, or if you're thinking about having some kids, schools are definitely going to be a very important thing for you. And Smyrna is actually home to, you guessed it, the Smyrna School District. So the Smyrna School District was actually rated number 8 overall by niche.com, and it actually ranked number 1 for athletes in Delaware. So if you do have a little Randy Moss or a potential Tom Brady, the Smyrna School District is going to be great for athletes, especially football. They actually did a three-peat back in 2015. The schools in Smyrna take, school sports very seriously. Now, the next pro is going to be location and affordability. Now, I wanted to put these together because they kind of go hand in hand when you're speaking about Smyrna. Now, I say this because I know I'm about to get absolutely destroyed by people who live in Smyrna, but let's just face it, it's the truth. But I'm gonna say it, everyone wants to live in Middletown because of all the new construction, the great schools, all the developing, and the great location. But the problem is that it's expensive. And when I show a lot of people homes or we start looking at stuff in Middletown, they usually say, do you got anything cheaper? And that option usually, more often than not, tends to be Smyrna, aka Middletown Junior. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody calls it that. I just said it because it's funny. And it's a good alternative to Middletown. Smyrna is very comparable. I mean, Smyrna has great schools. It has a great location. I mean, it's only about 12 miles from Middletown and 14 miles from Dover. So it's only about a 20-minute ride in either direction. And most importantly, the homes tend to be a lot cheaper and larger. I mean, if we're talking about median sold price, if you look at Middletown right now, it's $480,000 compared to the median home price in Smyrna, which is right around $360,000. So that's a $120,000 difference, which is very substantial. And Smyrna also has a lot of land, so there's a lot of opportunities for new construction and development. So the next pro that I have here is the small town feel. Now, this has to be one of the most distinct characteristics of Smyrna. It's very small town. It seems like everyone knows everyone. Now, while that may not be good for some people, overall, that's something that people tend to enjoy. It's definitely a small town feel. Everyone knows everyone in Smyrna. Now, that may not be a good thing for some people, but for most people, it is. And overall, the people are very friendly in Smyrna and welcoming. Now, as far as sense of community, Smyrna delivers on that in spades. I mean, there's always town parades for the holidays or some sort of local community event going on. The town of Smyrna itself is very community driven, and you can tell everyone that lives there holds a sense of pride in their town of Smyrna. And also the city itself does a lot to foster the sense of community, whether it's from spotlighting local businesses or encouraging dialogue between the residents and local government. Basically anything you would want to see in a small town or something that you would want your town to be doing. Now, before we hop into the cons, I actually want to do something a little bit different. Now, while I've helped quite a few families and people move to Smyrna, I actually don't live in Smyrna myself. So I decided to ask the people who actually live in Smyrna what they think of it and what they liked about Smyrna, and here are some of the responses. The first one said they like the small town feel. It's close to local colleges and it has a lot of cultural activities. The next person said it's nice people, quiet, and they like the parades and events. Another person person said it's quiet, good schools, and has a lot of potential for expanding. Lastly, this person said one of the pros was that it had a small town feel, and the con was actually that it had a small town feel, which actually leads me into the first set of cons that I have here. So the con is going to be small town feel. Now, while this is one of the best things about Smyrna, it actually has its own drawbacks as well. And there's quite a few. Now, Smyrna just doesn't have a small town feel. It is a small town. So it's missing some of the things such as retail shopping and entertainment. It's kind of non-existent in Smyrna. If you want to do any type of like real retail shopping, or even if you want to go see a movie or an event, you're going to have to either go to Newark, Middletown, or Dover or Milford. Another drawback is because it's so small and developing, there's not many jobs for people in Smyrna. Majority of the jobs there are going to be like local retail stores, or perhaps the prison is going to be the bigger employers in Smyrna. Now, while there's talk of bringing more jobs to the area with the Duck Creek Business Park, it's estimated to bring about 4,000 new jobs to Smyrna. It just has yet to happen. And the third con is going to be growing pains. What I mean by this is Smyrna is mostly rural. And for a good period of time, because there was a lot of farmers and whatnot there, a lot of those people were self-sustaining, so there wasn't need for a lot of robust infrastructure. And now because of all the new development and expanding, the city's infrastructure is, a little outdated, needs expanding, and it's just not where it needs to be. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I see a Facebook post or a text or something from a friend of mine saying that they ain't got no power in Smyrna. I'm not sure if like the lines are exposed to elements, or if the grid can't handle the population, or what's going on, but there definitely needs to be some type of improvements as far as the power infrastructure goes in Smyrna. It seems like it's a monthly occurrence sometimes. So it looks like Smyrna is putting a lot of emphasis on rectifying that problem, which is actually going to bring me to another con, and that's going to be property taxes. With all the new development that's planned and all the expansion and growth that Smyrna has seen so far in these last couple of years, it was kind of inevitable that this was going to happen. The city is old and it's not equipped to handle all the people that are there. So the town needs money to upgrade it, and I'm pretty sure you know how they get it, and that's going to be property taxes. So Smyrna is doing just that. The town council just voted to increase the property taxes in Smyrna. So it's going to be increasing from a tax rate to 47 cents to 94 cents per $100 of assessed property value. So essentially doubling the property tax there. So hopefully this will help the town of Smyrna make those improvements that it so desperately needs to make for the infrastructure. I'm not sure how happy some of the residents are about it. Speaking of that, I wanted to know what the residents didn't like about Smyrna, so I asked, and here are some of their responses. So the first person said the cops are tough on speeding and the town seems run down compared to Middletown. Another person said they're always losing power, not many attractions, and it has a lot of small town energy. Another person said rising property taxes, limited stores, and family activities. And speaking of family activities, I actually made another video discussing that right here.